Ladies and gentlemen, fitness coaches from all backgrounds, thank you so much for taking the time to click over and watch this video, and welcome to a brand new year. I'm extremely excited to give you this exclusive training that I believe is going to help take your fitness coaching business to the next level this year. Now, this training is based around a very unique 5-step strategy, and instead of me just telling you, oh, do this, it's more important that I can first make you aware of the 5 mistakes that most fitness coaches make that keeps them stuck at 5K a month, so that you can either stop doing them or you can avoid them completely, and then show you the correct solution to each one of those mistakes. This is how I was able to save my business from being stuck at 7K a month to scaling it to $23,000 a month 30 days later, and how it's helped a number of other fitness coaches scale their businesses to 20K and beyond as well. Now, I've never revealed this 5-step training to anyone for free before, but I'm doing this for one reason. As we dive into the new year, I'm confident that for a select few of you watching, this could be the most transformative year of your business if you're avoiding critical mistakes and you have the right strategy with complete clarity ahead. I know how life-changing it was for me learning about these 5 mistakes and solutions, and so anything I can do to clear the smoke, give you clarity for the path ahead in 2024, I'm doing my part to make this as prosperous a year for you as possible. So if that's you and you're tired of playing it slow in your fitness coaching business and you want the best this year, you want to scale up bigger and better than ever, then listen closely, grab a pen and paper, take some notes, and let's dive straight in. Now, in case you don't know me, my name is Corbin and I run sixfigurefreepro.co. We specialize in helping scale fitness coaching businesses to 20K a month by simply identifying what problems exist in the coaching business and solving them, right? Figuring out what holes exist in your business bucket and plugging them, right? Sounds a little bit cheeky, but we're in the business of plugging holes. Now, to give you a little bit of context as to who I am, my kind of experience, I actually want to give you a month-by-month breakdown of my own income in my coaching business when I started. When I first launched my coaching business, I didn't want to screw around. I just wanted to get it right straight away. So I invested all the money I had to work with a really great mentor to show me, and I invested 10 grand. And what he made me aware of was 3 out of the 5 mistakes, right? 3 out of the 5. And even just being aware of these 3 out of the 5, I was able to generate $15,000 in the first 16 days of launch, right? I know it sounds insane. To me, this was the most money I've generated in my own business ever. I was so over the moon, I couldn't believe it. And this was just 3 out of the 5. Don't worry guys, I'm going to walk you through all of these top to bottom. But first I want to give you a bit of context here. After this month, this is where it all kind of went pear-shaped though, right? The very next month we dropped down to 7K and I'm like, what the hell just happened? We were doing $1,000 a day, I was on top of the moon, and now we did 7K. What the fuck just went wrong? And this is where most coaches stay stuck at, right? And I had a choice here. It was like, either I can stay at this level and just keep doing what I'm doing, or be aware enough to know that, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. What am I doing wrong? And I went on a massive manhunt looking for what the problem was and the solution. And this is where I discovered problem number 4 and solution number 4. Now that I had 1, 2, and 3, 4 checked, the very next month, we scaled up to 23K. We went from 7 grand to 23K within 30 days. And this is where it all became clear. Now, you might be wondering, what about number 5, right? Secret number 5. I'm going to walk you through that. That is extremely special because all of these results are fantastic, but if you can't maintain it, and if there's lots of dips here and there, you're not building a sustainable business. And that is where 5 comes in. But before I get ahead of myself, you might be wondering, all right, well, sure, you had a great start to your coaching business, but where did you actually begin? Did you have a bunch of cash? Did you have a big audience? How did things actually look like? Is this realistic for me? Absolutely it is, because this is where I started. I had $652 in my bank account. This was after investing in the coaching program. I had nothing left. I had $652 in my account, right? I had an Instagram account here with basic content and 400 fake followers, all right? This was my office, right? Praise God, doesn't look like that anymore, right? But this is where I started. And this was enough. Starting here, knowing what the 3 mistakes and the 3 solutions were, that was enough to do 15K. And the reason I see so many fitness coaches not even get close to this is because even one of these 3 they don't have. And this is why so many coaches struggle. And after being aware of what these systems were, ever since then, whenever we work with a coach, we immediately implement these 5 right from the jump. And these are the kind of results that they get to experience. Jess and Marcella, they went from 0 in their coaching business to 20K in their first month of launch. They beat my record. In fact, they did 20K in 3 weeks, right? So it's not even a full month. They did 20K, 0 to 20K in 3 weeks. Now, you might be wondering, where did they start? For them, they had previously invested $7,000 in a coaching program and made no money back. They were on the edge, right? Their case study, by the way, is actually below. You can watch it from their perspective. They were on the edge. They were so hesitant to join. But as you can see, literally in their first 3 weeks of launch, just by having these 5 things correct right away, 20K, 3 weeks. But they're not the only ones. Brandon was able to go from 0 to 10K in his first 14 days, right? In his first 30 days, he actually signed on 20 high ticket clients, right? But where did he start, right? He definitely didn't start with everything either. For him, I remember when we first called, he was telling me he was actually going to have to go back to America, right? He was abroad. He was going to have to go back to waiting tables back in America. And he's like, dude, I don't want to go back. So we worked together and took him right out of that situation. He didn't have to go back. And I actually messaged him, this is around a month ago. And he's saying now he's living in Manila, still running the business, right? They just built an app for the company. They sell their programs for around 3.5K to 5K USD. This is for fitness coaching, you guys. Fitness coaching. 3.5K to 5K. That's what everyone should be aspiring to do. Okay? No more selling cheap programs. 3.5K to 5K. Right? This is a year later. It's not like we get these great results and then you don't hear from these guys anymore and the business shuts down. No. Now he's living in Manila. Doesn't have to go back home. Right? One Mr. Philippines as well. Right? Crazy shit. Okay? But you might be wondering, okay, what if I have a really small audience? Well, David only had 700 followers. Right? And he signed 2 fitness coaching clients worth $3,000 each within 3 days of each other. Right, you can see here 3K each, sold the first program, and then 3 days later, bang, sold the next one. He's got 700 followers. Right, I had 400 fake followers. Right, you don't need a huge audience to make this work. And again, it's not the only one either. Sam and Hassan did $7,500 in 1 day, 3 for 3 high ticket closes. Right. Had one sale and another one, 3 for 3 on that day. Insane. So you might be wondering, like, Corbin, what the hell are these 5, right? I want to know, what are these 5 mistakes? What are the 5 solutions? Let me dive straight in. These are the 5 biggest mistakes that fitness coaches are making, which are preventing them from getting the 20K month. So if you're not at 20K month consistently in your fitness coaching business, it's more than likely that you're making at least one of these mistakes. You probably have 1 or 2 of these as holes in your business bucket. And so what I'm going to do is obviously walk you through extensively each one of these, what the problem is, how it might be affecting you, and of course, what the solution looks like, just as a high-level overview to point you in the right direction. Now, to start off here, we have selling the wrong thing, selling to the wrong people, using manual marketing methods, right? The old school stuff that just don't work anymore, making ineffective content, and lack of predictable income systems. So, without further ado, let me dive in straight away with number 1. Selling the wrong thing. This typically takes the form of selling cheap programs. Now, what kind of price range am I talking about when I say cheap programs? Typically, it's in the region of like $200 to $300. A lot of the people who work with us end up coming to us selling it for actually way less than that, which is insane, right? Which is so scary. But what's the actual problem? Why is selling cheap programs preventing you from potentially getting the 20K month? Number 1, selling cheap programs means attracting who? Cheap clients. Why is this a problem? Because for you to get to 20K a month, guess how many clients you need to work with at $200 a pop to get to 20K? 100 different people. I want that number to sink in. To get to 20K a month, selling 200 a month programs, you need 100 different clients. Do you know how much time that takes to serve that many people, answer that many different questions each and every day? The other thing is, and this is super important, the thing that most people don't understand, even if you did manage to sell that many people and you have 100 clients on board, because you're selling it for so cheap, you can't actually provide a very high level of service, right? Let alone to 100 people. It's you're a one-man show, you're a one-man army, trying to cater to 100 different people, okay? And because of that, you cannot compete with someone charging 10 times the amount as you are. They can afford to give their client such a great service. And because of that, they only need to work with 1 high-ticket client for every 10 of your low-ticket clients. That's insane, right? But this is the big problem with selling cheap shit. And I really want to drive this point home here. Guys, there's no nobility in selling cheap shit. A lot of people think, oh, you're selling it for expensive and ripping people off. No, if you think that, number one, you're selling to the wrong people who don't value a premium program. That's number one, which we're actually going to get onto in the next slide. But the thing to be very aware of is there's no virtue here. There's no nobility in selling cheap shit to cheap people. The only reason you're still selling low ticket shit is because you don't know how to sell anything more expensive. If you could get on your very next sales call and sell your program for 2,000 US for 12 weeks, you would do it. If you knew you dropped that price and someone, hey, it's $2,000, and they're going to say yes, you would do it. Most of the time, fitness coaches are trapped, even just in problem number one, because they don't know how to escape this, right? So what does the alternative look like? The high ticket solution. Again, I hinted at it a little bit before. When you charge so much more for your service, you can afford to provide more value here. Most fitness coaches, the most they're doing uniquely is just creating the custom, fitness program, and they've got some, app that's doing the nutrition thing, or they pay a company to do it for them, whatever. It's not at all a personalized level of service. If you think it is, you haven't tasted anything yet when it comes to high ticket coaching. But you can genuinely pack in your program with so much value. And in doing so, you skate past everyone in the market. No one can compete with you, right? The only way to win over a low ticket client is on price. Here, selling high ticket, you're in a market of one, because a prospect will get on the call with you selling high ticket fitness coaching, and they'll realize immediately, okay, this guy's different. This guy does things way differently, right? They're in a market of one. I can't negotiate on price here. No one else is doing this, right? And this is exactly how we got Marcelo and Jess to 20K within 3 weeks, focusing on a premium program. The next thing, and again, these two go hand in hand. The first one is, you're selling the wrong thing. The next one is selling to the wrong people. And when you position yourself as a generalist coach, this is exactly the problem that occurs. A generalist coach, in the bio, I see it all the time, help men and women lose weight or feel their best self, whatever the hell that means, right? The problem here, positioning yourself as a general practitioner, think of doctors, right? You can work with anyone, right? You're a commodity, right? It's a race to the bottom. The only point of difference you have over another coach offering the exact same thing, custom app, and we do the nutrition. The only point of difference you have is price. That's how to win over these cheap people, is price. They'll get on the phone, I'm sure you've heard it. Oh, so-and-so's offering the same thing for cheaper, right? And so most of the time, coaches don't have that abundance of great leads, and so they'll drop the price just to win over the client. This happens so much. And because of all this, you are easily replaceable. If you don't want to play ball, drop your price. They're like, oh, that's okay. I'll just go to the other guy I found on Instagram before the call, right? You're easily replaceable. You're just adding to the noise. Every person and their grandma is a fitness coach these days. And they're all offering the same bullshit, right? And so when you're selling cheap shit to cheap people, you're in this negative spiral. You're adding to the noise. You're playing the same game as everyone else. So what's the alternative here? You need to position yourself as a specialist. At what? A specialist at solving a very unique problem for a very specific type of person by using a very unique mechanism. Okay, how does this look? For example, if you are a specialist in helping skinny entrepreneurs go from skinny to mega Chad using your Super Spartan program, your unique methodology that helped you pack on 10 kilograms of muscle in 6 months, that's fucking crazy, but for instance, right? That unique mechanism, helping a unique person with a very unique problem, they're a skinny entrepreneur. Okay, cool, right? What other problems are they facing? How is your problem going to fit in there, right? Being this guy, you're in a market of one. You don't need to work with a lot of people either. Handful of people each month paying you very high amounts. Your calendar is packed out with quality people, right? Each one of them is paying you a stack of cash, not cheap shit. Okay, and for example, again, David, who by the way, again, only has around 700 followers, is selling a 3K program because not only did we create a very high-end program for him, but now he's working with specific people. He's not working with everyone. Just because you can help everyone doesn't mean you should. This one is the number one problem, I'd say. Even if you manage to have the other two kind of doing okay, using outdated lead generation, sales systems, manual marketing systems is the death of so many fitness coaching businesses. What does this look like? I hear it all the time, is other fitness coaching mentors, business mentors, they will say, you need to send 100 DMs a day manually by yourself, right? And I'm not going to name names here, but the person who's a big proprietor of this, who is the biggest fitness coaching mentor in the space, we get about 40% of our clients that come from him. And the thing that he preaches all the time is, you need to prove that you can grind it out. You need to prove that you can hustle. Get in there 3-4 hours a day, message 100 people. You need to prove that you want it. While you're also trying to juggle your own training, and also you might have a day job while building this fitness coaching business on the side, dedicate 3-4 hours, DM 100 people a day. Or you don't want it bad enough. How bullshit is that? It's so backwards. The problem with this is that your business lives or dies on your shoulders when you use a system like this, where you're the one that has to do the DMs. Now, by the way, I'm not knocking DMs. DMs make a shit ton of cash if you do it correctly. And the way to do it correctly is you to not do it at all. Get someone else to do it, which I'm going to show you in the next slide. But if you're doing this manual outreach, let's say, God forbid, family tragedy happens, or you're sick, or you can't, be physically present in your DMs, whatever, for a week, your business goes down the drain. It dies. If you don't have any other system where someone else can take over the DMs for you, at the very least, take over the DMs for you, where you're doing it there every day, it's slow, outdated, you're going to end up hating your business. Why do I say that? Because even if you are a dedicated person and you have done 100 DMs a day, one, props to you, that's incredible. But when's the last time you actually enjoyed it? How did you feel after smashing out 100 DMs that day? Were you loving life, or were you like, fuck this, I hate it? Being told to, fuck off or leave me alone, whatever, and you're reading that every day. And you still got to hammer away 100 a day, or you don't want it bad enough, right? That leaves you hating your business. This is why I say this system has been the death of so many potentially amazing fitness coaches, is because they end up hating their business by hating this method. The correct way of doing things, this is non-negotiable at this point, is stop chasing leads. You need to hire somebody else, we call this an appointment setter, who's in charge of your DMs. They send out 100 DMs a day. They do it, they can work completely off commission, by the way, right? At least this is what we do in our program. We get, commission on the appointment setters. So every day you're sending 100 DMs for free. 100 leads per day for free. You're sitting on top of your business. You're chilling. You're working with your clients. You're not in your DMs. You don't hear people telling you to fuck off or whatever the case may be. If you're busy, if you're sick, no worries. The DMs are still going out. Calls are still getting booked. All you do is rock up to the call. And by the way, here's the beauty of this all. Who are they reaching out to? How can you quality control? Well, if we go all the way back, who are you reaching out to? You're reaching out to premium, high-end niches. For example, some of our guys, they work with doctors. Their calendar is booked out with doctors. Not because they're trying to get a consult from the doctor. It's the other way around. Doctors want to work with them, or entrepreneurs, or lawyers, right? I'm giving you guys massive game right now. And the results from this system are actually unbelievable. The response rate that we get with this system, I've never seen anything as high, ever. I've been in this game now for so many years. I've never seen any response rate as high as ours. Josh here, who has 90 followers, told me on our call when we were doing an update of his automated outreach system, he gets a 75% response rate from his new leads, right? The new market that we target for him, right? Very high-end market, 75% response rate. They want to get on calls, right? Ingrid here, who has 1,500 followers, quite a bit more, right? She told me on our one-on-one call the other day, she gets a 40% response rate, which is fucking bananas. Industry standard, by the way, is between 5 and 10% response rate. On average, if we can only pull in 20%, we're still double industry standard, and these guys are getting exponentially more than that. At this point, like I'm saying, guys, there is absolutely no reason to still be stuck on this manual outreach side. And you can tell I'm really passionate about this because I see so many fitness coaches get bogged down with this bullshit. It's unnecessary. You need to be on this side, right? You can have someone who's going to send better messages than you, get a higher response rate than you. They're going to contact more people. They're going to contact the right people. No more chasing leads. Just rock up to the call, and it's high quality call every time, right? Next one. And this is number 4. Before I get onto this, hopefully you guys can see how even steps 1, 2, and 3, how this is enough If you just have these 3 locked in, you are sweet. Even for me, like I said, 15K in 16 days. Marcelo and Jess, 20K in 3 weeks, right? Even if you just have these 3 dialed in, that is enough. But number 4 is where it gets really interesting. Low sales conversions is a huge problem that so many coaches face. Even when they do, by the grace of God, book a couple calls, they tell me not a lot of times people are actually signing on, even for cheap programs. Even if they were magically to get high quality people on board that could pay them a lot of money, 1,000, 2,000, they're botching the call. Why? Content. You wouldn't believe it. But content is actually one of the most important mechanisms here for getting people to pre-sell themselves before they get on the call. Pre-qualify themselves too, right? Why is this important? And what problems do people face when they're not doing this correctly? When they're creating ineffective content, it's content that just adds to the noise. Here are 3 tips to lose weight. Here are 3 foods I would avoid. I see this bullshit from every coach. It's so stupid, right? They're trying to pump out massive amounts of quantity content, again, while being busy with their life. It's counterproductive, right? Even if the video does get traction, the wrong people are following you. They're not going to buy from you, and they're very cheap people, right? And because this process isn't dialed in, your content isn't actually functioning correctly, there's a lot of friction on the sales call. It's still very difficult to sell people. The correct way of doing things is creating a content ecosystem of less content, less quantity, higher quality. And I don't mean fancy edits, guys. I mean, what you talk about in this video is everything. The sale happens before the call, and it happens on your videos. This is pre-selling content. This is the art of pre-selling content. And it means the right people view your content, right? So that before they even get on the call, they know you, they know what you're for, they know what you're against, they understand your mechanism, they understand the results you got for other people, they're excited to work with you. It's not like you pushing them and hunting them down. They are excited to work with you. That's why this works so well, right? And again, even for our guy here, Sam, you can see the 2 types of content, by the way, that we have as our cornerstones here is IG content and our Reels. And for Sam, he said he had his first try at IG story promos, got his first sale at 2K USD. Again, Sam here actually works with doctors specifically. So he's booking all of his calls with doctors, not tire kickers, guys. Come on. And the last one here, this is super, super clutch. A huge problem coaches face. Even if they do have a great month, you're on top of the world, and then the next month, it just cocks it. And this is why so many coaches, they can't actually take their online thing full time. And if they do, they're not thriving when they take it on like full time online. Is because one month it's great, the next month it's down again. None of these systems that I just told you, steps 1 through to 4, none of this matters if you don't have a system that you can scale or that can at least maintain your good results. If you do 10K one month, you don't want to drop back down to 5, right? You guys saw, I've been there. And so the correct solution to use here is what we use, right? Which is a low cost, high return appointment ad funnel. What does this mean? For us, when we do our launch campaigns, for us and our clients, we spend $20 a day, and it books us an additional 5 to 10 sales calls per week. They're obviously pre-qualified, going through a Calendly form, but 5 to 10 additional calls for $20 a day. When I tell this to people, they actually can't believe it. And what we found on average is, for every dollar you put in, we're getting $8 out, right? So it's around an 8x return, which is nuts. And the simple setup here is 1 or 2 really simple Instagram and Facebook ads. Again, low cost, you guys. And this just easily can maintain the results that you guys have been getting from the appointment system, for everything else. But when you want more appointments on your calendar, when you have more money in the bank from all the organic systems too, just crank the knob. If you want double the appointments, double the budget, spend 40 a day. You want triple, spend 60 a day, right? If it's a little bit busy, a little bit full, you got too many clients coming on board, which is actually a problem for our coaches, right? Having too many people coming on board, they need to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. Then you slow down the ad spend, right? This is the system that so many people miss out on. And the beauty behind it is you don't need to message or chase anyone. They book themselves into your calendar automatically, right? I haven't seen a single coach that's using this system that is not at least 20K. And so what this all leads to, guys, is this. If you've been listening to this and you're like, yeah, you know what, Corbin? I might not have the premium program down. I'm probably not positioning myself as a specialist. I'm not really automating any of my processes. Maybe I don't have the right content. Maybe you identify with one or all of these that might be potential holes in your business bucket. Then you've got one of two options to make right here. Now, before watching this video, it is perfectly excusable that you may have not seen the results you want in your coaching business because either you've been unaware of a more effective strategy or you've been listening to the wrong mentors. That's perfectly excusable. But now that you've been made aware of where your problems might be lying and what the correct solution looks like, now there's no excuse. Now the ball is in your court and you are entirely responsible for where you take your business next, right? Now, the two options is either A, you can go ahead. Absolutely, this has been a free game. You can try this out 100%, right? You will definitely spend more time, energy, and money trying and failing to get this to work if you are to try it on your own. But the other side of the coin is if you're like, you know what, I don't want to play games. I don't want to muck around. I just want to get this thing right straight away. Right? And I want to nail this. I want to be able to scale my coaching business to 20K minimum, and I want to do it with a streamlined approach. Then I would love to extend the invitation for you and I to jump on a one-on-one call where we can actually go through your own coaching business, analyze which one of these 5 is the standout for you, what's actually causing your bucket to leak, why aren't we at 20K yet, right? And in doing so, we can piece together a game plan, completely custom, to say, okay, cool, this is what we need to prioritize, this is what we need to do next, and this is what we need to do after that. This is going to help you get to 20K, right? If that's the case and you want to take that extra step, learn a little bit more about what this whole process looks like and how we might be able to assist you on the journey, then please click the button or the link below. Schedule in a completely free one-on-one call. It'll be with me directly, no other sales reps. It'll be with me specifically, and we can chat a little bit more about your business. So, guys, I would absolutely love to see you on the call, and I really hope this was valuable to you nonetheless. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and God bless you this new year.